Do you live here? Yeah. You do? Papa. I don't believe that. What? I don't believe that. Come on. Right, come on.
Why are you running and screaming at someone else's house?
Did someone come here?
That was my wife. Somebody chased her up here. And she had kids.
Who chased her?
She said somebody in the silver.
Now you gonna come out as a man and lie and say someone chased her. Nobody chased her.
Nice truck. And he came around the corner and I was in the street. And so I come up and my kids. And so I'm like gonna pretend that I'm coming home. And so I pull up and I start walking to your back gate. And he stops here and he goes, "Are you looking for someone?" And I said, "Nope." And then he sat here and I was like, "I need to get in."
Well, that's my husband. That's why he lives here. Yeah. He lives here. So he came in and he said, "There's a lady screaming." And I'm like,
She got all worried.
As she said, that's her husband. He lives here. What are you laughing for? Nothing about this is funny. Nothing.
Do you live here?
This is so crazy to me that I have to play this again. You are standing on someone else's porch talking about, do you live here? You don't. Please listen.
Yeah. You do? Papa. I don't believe that. What?
You don't have to believe it. You don't live there. You're on his porch. Nut. Now start screaming. Go ahead, start screaming. Tell me this is not a nut.
Somebody chased her up here. And she had kids.
who chased her?
She said somebody in the silver truck.
Nice truck. And he came around the corner and I was in the street. And so I come up and my kids. And so I'm like gonna pretend that I'm coming home. And so I pull up and I start walking to your back gate. And he stops here and he goes, "Are you looking for someone?" And I said, "Nope." And then he sat here and I was like, "I need to get in."
Well, that's my husband. That's why he lives here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Congratulations, ma'am. Thank you for joining us.
Shout out to Club Shay Shay. I saw this last night on the Nightcap with Ocho Cinco. The Jenkins family joins the Nightcap. Please listen to the family speaking their truth to Shannon and Ocho. And watch Ocho face several times as they are speaking.
Late January. If you can recount the events as you remember as vividly as you possibly can.
Yeah, I can remember. It wasn't too long ago. I was leaving one of my real estate job sites in the inner city, wrapping it up for the day. It was about 5:15. Took me about 45 minutes to get home. So I'm proud to go home. Shannon, something I want you to know is when they say it's an affluent neighborhood, it's one of the most wealthiest neighborhoods in Ohio.
Wow, congrats.
And
I know that's right.
My house is the best house in the
That's what I'm
neighborhood
talking about.
because
Come on now.
I designed it from scratch. I'm an architectural designer. I bought the land, I financed the land, designed it from scratch, and I built it from the ground up using all my resources. So proud to come home. I'm pulling up, checking out my Christmas lights we just put up for the holiday season. And there happens to be a lady in the driveway with 2 kids. So I don't think nothing of it. Kids coming in and out my house all the time. I got kids, got a family over here. I don't think nothing of it. I think she's looking for the front door. I say, "Hey, are you looking for somebody?" She doesn't answer. She then proceeds to go to the porch. So I'm like, okay, so she's probably coming over. So I pull in the driveway. I'm about to park, and she rings the doorbell and comes to the front of the front porch and stops me and says, "Do you live here?" And I said, yeah, I live here. She said, well, I don't think so. So I said, well, what are you doing here? She says, I don't think you live here. Picks the kid up, drops the stroller, hops off the porch, starts running, and I hear screaming, yelling for help. At that point, now I'm in fear. I'm in fear because I know what we face as black men in America. So I rush to the garage, park in the garage, come in the house. My wife's in the office. I said, babe. So white, Caucasian lady, she just jumped off our front porch, screaming, yelling for help. I don't know if she's gonna call the police. I'm pacing back and forth. I don't know what's about to happen. 6 p.m., regular day. We pacing back and forth. I don't, at this point, I'm like, I don't know what's about to happen. She comes back before the police gets here. I don't want to go outside. I don't want to go outside with them outside. And the police pulls up, and I don't know what's going to pop off. If the police pull up, altercation happen, anything could happen.
Right.
I know they're going to side with them. So my wife's come outside, and she just wants to figure out what's going on because she's in shock. And I let her say how she ended up coming outside or whatnot.
Okay, when he comes,
Yeah, when he came home and he said, they're about.
I was going to ask you.
Oh, go
He
ahead.
comes into the house. He says, babe, there's a white lady standing on our porch. She's running, yelling, screaming. I don't know what this is about. And so what's going through your mind when he explains what he just encountered?
I was in my office working and I'm confused. I'm not understanding what's going on. Like, what do you mean there's a white woman running screaming for help? Screaming for help for what? He's like, I don't know. And immediately my heart dropped. I'm like walking and pacing back and forth. Like, okay, just wait. Okay. Well, what happened? Nothing. I was just fooling in the house. And I'm like, what is she screaming for? He's like, I don't know. And I'm like, are you, what? What? And I keep opening up the door because I feel like the police is going to come here. Somebody is about to come here, and I don't know what's going to happen. I don't even know what fully happened. I didn't hear anything. I'm in the house working.
So she go.
And so I kept opening up the door, and that's when I came out.
So she called. So she did end up calling the police.
She did end up calling the
She
police,
did call the
yes.
police.
Okay. So let me ask you a question. Now this happened in November.
But you're like,
The
what
video
the
just
hell
recently
is
got
going
released.
on?
What caused you guys to release? Because I'm glad this is on Ring camera. Because you're absolutely right. Had this not been captured on camera, on video, we already know the story that was going to be told and how it was going to be spun. But you guys had it on camera. What made you guys finally decide to release it?
Well, I actually released the video in our community Facebook group.
Oh.
We have a community Facebook group, about 500 or so people, and ever since I've been like, we've been shattered, we've been upset, it's so many different factors and so many different feelings. Feelings. I put the video in our community Facebook group to share what happened, and it took a lot for me to do that. And then we woke up and the videos everywhere.
You know what's funny? It's one thing to experience racial profiling in public. In public, I'm sure we all have stories where it happens in that setting. But for it to happen in your own home, I mean, it can be unsettling. It could be uncomfortable, especially when it comes to a place that you call a place of peace that we can all get away from, from the outside world. Has that affected your sense of security and trust in the neighbors? And have you reconciled in any way with the neighbor who caused these issues?
Of course, there's a lack of trust. Of course, it makes us feel unwelcome and unsafe. We have 2 boys, and he leads our family. He protects our family. So to know that we can't go walk the dog, or someone looking at us is what's going to happen. It's a lot of weight. It's a lot of pain, and it's a lot of emotion.
I can still,
And he's desensitized to this.
I still hear it in your voice.
So of course, it not once have we got I thought the next day maybe there would be some flowers at the door saying, not once has this person reached out to us to give us a sincere apology.
Whoa.
HOA.
Wait,
I reached out to HOA immediately after it happened.
nobody said anything?
Immediately after it happened, I reached out. HOA ghosted me,
Wow.
for lack of better words.
Can I ask you this? Prior to that night, prior to that incident, had you ever seen this woman prior to this incident?
I've been in the neighborhood for 3 years. I built the house from the ground up. I know the developers in the neighborhood. I lived in the front of the neighborhood while I built the house. I walked to the job site every day. So, have I seen her eye for eye? No. I walked by her house and seen them on the front porch.
So she see.
When they came, I didn't recognize.
Go ahead, ma'am. Go ahead.
I didn't recognize them, but I was going to say it's a 90% or more of the neighborhood is predominantly Caucasian. So we're one of black families in the neighborhood.
And our house sits all the way in the back of the neighborhood, and the people ride by and take pictures every day. And there's a lot of publicity with our house, so it really was it was shocking. But they stay to themselves in the neighborhood.
Let me ask you this. When you walk up and you ask, what can I help you with? And she says, is this your house? And you say, yeah. And she says, I don't believe you. When someone tells you they're standing on your porch and they tell that's not their property, and they tell you that this is not your property, what went through your mind when someone is standing on your porch and they say, well, you don't live here?
Well, that's when I was battle tested as a black man, as a man that had been to prisons, that's, had to transition and learn how to put pride and ego to the side and control your emotions.
Okay.
That's when that kicked in. That was the ultimate battle test. Because in my mind, I said, the audacity of her. That was in my mind. But I had to control my emotions in the moment because I knew where it could have escalated at. I'm thinking, well, what if she had a gun?
Correct.
Would she have been running, or would I have been running?
Is this a situation because now she said, well, you have to see it from my point of view. No, I don't need to see anything from your point of view when you stand at on my porch. But for her to say, well, you didn't say, well, I really live here. I live here. I don't have to identify myself. This is mine. Why do I have to tell you who I am when you standing on my property?
It took everything out of me, not to get out of character. And especially when they came back, she brought her husband back. He was real standoffish. I was scared to go outside, but I sat on it. I was listening. I said, I can't let my wife sit out here with these people. What if the police pull up?
Right.
So, I went outside and I just had to make my face known. And I had to let them know I do live here. A black man does live here. I did build this house from the ground up. I did design this house. I had to show my face. And as soon as I came outside, you could tell.
I feel so bad for this family. I feel terrible. I mean, this kind of stuff really hurts my heart. And to know that they have a son that's 17 and he's afraid now, it's terrible.
Jump on here.
Now here she come crying, trying to actually give. I guess this is an apology, but it's not really an apology.
Public, and for those of you guys who
Don't nobody care.
are telling me that I
didn't even get the whole thing. Shut up.
One, I will not apologize for making any sort of racist remark. I'm the furthest thing from.
You're not going to give an apology for any racist remarks, but you're the furthest thing from a racist. Ugh.
Racist. I will, however, apologize that my expression could ever come across in such a way, or that somebody could think something of that nature of myself and my family. So
Guys, I just had to stop it right there because I just can't take no more. I can't take no more. Let me know in the comments, how would you feel? And how do you feel about this current Karen right here? Also, how would you feel coming home from a long day's work? Someone is standing on your porch and they say to you, "Do you live here?" And you say, yes. And they reply, "Well, I don't believe you." How would you feel and what would you do?